What up, y'all, and welcome to Richmond Raceway for the third race of the 2022 NRSL Hankook Tyres V8 Supercar Challenge. William Brock is on pole with Watkins Glen winner Jonathan Zorlin to his outside. We got 93 laps of action, expecting this to be a one-stop race, as always with short tracks in this series on the channel. No caution flags will fly. I am once again joined in the booth by Vince Freeze. What's up, Vince?
Oh man, what's going on? This is an interesting track in Richmond with these supercars. The real reason why is lateral grip matters. Speeds are going to be pretty low in the corners compared to the other races we've been to. This will be the first true test of lateral grip. And see who has the best package here. It's definitely about middle of the corner and entry of the corner. Exit's not bad, but middle and the entry will matter. And tire wear will be probably the biggest out of all the tracks we've been to so far, other than the Glen and Pocono.
Row 2 is Allison Liliera with Charles Sanford to her outside. Row 3, Seth Cole and Alexander Rowe. Row 4, Dylan Young and Diego Yepes. Young has good track record here in the Cup Series. And row 5, Jessica Shelton and Richard Johnson. Coming into this race, Cement Oskin has a 6-point lead over Zorlin, 20 over Shelton, 23 over Flickinger, and 28 over Johnson and Cage.
Drivers, start your engine!
So through 2 races, we have just 4 drivers with top 10s in every race. That being Oskin, Shelton, Richard Johnson, and Keith Rich. Green flag is out. Nobody has a top 5 in every race.
They go into turn 1. Consistency will be key, but sometimes in a series like this, it may take good runs. Look at Zorlin, for example. He's looking for 2 out of 3 today after his big win at the Glen.
Notice the speed there at the top of the screen. 94 middle of the corner. Already 125 off the corner. 140 at the line. About 153 in the turn 1. And then all the way back down to 95 miles an hour. These cars just accelerate really good. And don't let that gear 6 at the top of the screen fool you. It's still a 5-gear setup.
Big lap 2, Brock. I mean, he's never really has JPTS and other than Audrey, but other than that, he really doesn't have much Digital Storm Cup luck. But he's doing pretty good here at Richmond in the Supercar so far.
Yeah, William Brock has still not won in the Digital Storm Cup Series after 5 seasons of racing out of the 6 years. Would be quite the breakthrough for him to get a first win here in the V8 Supercar Challenge, but Allison Liera is right there on his back bumper.
I think Allison's got better turn. As they start to mix it up, it's been pretty calm for Richmond races. Allison goes high to search for some cleaner air in the middle of the pack.
Liera all over Brock's bumper, going to go for the race lead here in the turn 1 on the 5th lap of the race. Zorlin is right there too. But as you can see, as with Richmond, when everyone's on the same tires, it is really hard to get past somebody on the inside line.
Track position will be heavy, and the strategy will come into play. Definitely with tires, undercut could be pivotal in this race as Allison's still peaking.
Go back here. Charles Sanford is in 4th. Alexander Rowe 5th. Yepes holding on to 6th. Seth Cole 7th. Dylan Young 8th. Shelton 9th. And currently fighting for 10th is Kev Shearer against Richard Johnson. See the cars, Vince, they just accelerate so fast that you get checked up just that little bit on someone's inside and you just can't get the power down.
Yeah, more than ever, aero grip is going to matter here. Usually you don't think of aero grip in Richmond, but with these cars the way it is, it does matter with the aero package.
Saw Fitzwater try and make a move on Rob Evans there, and now to Fitzwater's outside is the 23 of Zach Flickinger.
Not to interrupt, man, but I think Rain and Zorlin are battling for second off the backstretch. I think Rain slid up.
Allison holds on to the position. Now Sanford all over Zorlin. As behind them, Seth Cole was trying to get by Diego Yepes. Now that has opened the door up for Young on Seth Cole's outside. And Young's going to take 7th place this way.
Like we talked about in the pre-race, a good track record here. He knows how to get done at Richmond as Allison closes the gap back down to Brock, for sure.
And Brock is definitely not the fastest car up here right now. It's just so hard to get grip down on the inside line. It's really going to tell us with the pit strategy later when we get to about lap 47, 48. You know, that's probably going to make all the difference as Zorlin closing back in as well. Let's go to the back of the field. Here at the back, you've got Peter Onjak and Donovan Cage just outside the top 30. Bradley Ream in 30th, RJ Bishop 29th, Ace Rogers 28th, so Dodge's not doing too hot tonight. And Laura Chung, Logan York, Christian Vargas. There's Vince Freeze in the 12, Derek Hamill. There's Samet Oskin stuck back here in 22nd due to a poor qualifying run. Lucas Catano, highest of the Dodges in 21st. You got Andrew Rich in 20th. James Ellison 19th. Turner 18th. Baranowskis 17th. Keith Rich 16th. And then we've seen the rest of these top 15 already. Sam Young up to 14th place. Shelton has now fallen to 10th. Kev Shears up to 9th. Seth Cole down to 8th behind Dylan Young. As Yepes is all over the bumper of Alexander Rowe. And now William Brock has actually started to pull away.
As you went through the field, man, I just noticed a lot of the tire fall off is about 4/10, 5/10. But the thing is everyone from, let's say, 2nd to 15th are only about a 10th in separation. That's why we're not seeing any passing, like you said, with track position being critical. But Brock, I think, will ebb and flow. One of my key words I always do on this channel, for sure.
Looking at lap times, you can see Charles Sanford with the fastest lap in this race so far, 21:471. And then you've got Allison with a 5:05, Seth Cole 5:11, Brock 5:19, and Yepes a 5:65. So now as Brock starts to pull away, a little bit of a close that time by for Liera. Yepes is trying to get by Rowe, but you can just see right there at corner exit, he has to check up. And he loses all of his grip there. Still going to go at it here in 3 and 4. Yepes
Even a 1, yep.
Trying to get it done.
Right here, though, the run will come up top, yep.
Still not clear for Alexander Rowe. Bit of a wider arc there through 3 that time by. That's going to let Rowe get the power down this time and clear. Rowe stays in 5th place. Dylan Young is now driven away from Seth Cole. And we're just basically waiting at this point. Yepes going to go to the top, maybe try and get a run. No run coming.
Nothing's really changed. It's really Brock between 4 to 8/10 and scrolling about 8 to 1 second. 8/10 to 1 second is really the gap we're seeing here.
See, the car's only down about 3 to 5 more miles an hour mid-corner, and then the drivers are kind of unable to just full throttle right off the corner. There's a little bit of checkup going on A little bit of like lifting down the like half throttle, I'd say, coming right off the corner. And then they're able to plant it back down all the way.
The rain got loose again because here comes Rowan peaking. He lost the momentum.
And quite interesting that the 6 and 83 were all over the 3. And now, 23 laps into this run, Brock has been able to pull away.
Yeah, clean air is king, especially with that diffuser with the wake coming off these cars. I think the clean air will be king in track position. Someone's going to pull a big undercut like Cage maybe and last.
Right now, fall off is over a second. Remember, another thing to watch out for is that orange box on pit entry. If you hit that box at any way, it is a 30-second penalty.
Oh, flyby shot there. There we go.
Talk about point standings while we're at it. William Brock in the lead. Came into this race 17th in points, 54 points back of Samet Oskin. With the points format, finishing in the top 5 has the most value, especially if you finish in the top 3 positions. 60 points to win, 50 for second, 44 for third, 39 for fourth, and 35 for fifth. Then 32 for sixth, then down 2 points for every position in the top 10. And then 11th, you get 22 points, and then it's down 1 point to last. So 1 point per position if you're mid-pack, but if you're here in the top 10, top 5, every position can be very crucial to your championship run. And for William Brock, if he were to win this race, since we're only 2 races in the season, everyone's very close in the points. I'd say, depending where everyone in front of him in points finishes, that he could jump straight up to the top 5 in points with a win.
Every race matters, man. We know what's looming after this race. It's Pensacola, where anything can happen. It's probably the truest wild card we have left in the schedule. And the funny thing is, after this race, we're 37.5% of the way through. We're getting fast and furious for a reason in this series, and there's no days off in terms of slacking. Rain start, Liliere, excuse me, starting to. I feel like we're starting. We had a little for a second, a little bit of a close pack. He sees rolling close on the brakes, but then it's just ebbing and flowing to 2 seconds now. I think Brock's really using that clean air and that tire advantage to manage the pace.
About a third of the way now through this race. As Liera now seems to be the roadblock that we thought Brock was earlier on. Sorlin all over her bumper, but nobody has been able to go anywhere. You see Seth Cole has pulled away from 9th place Jessica Shelton, so Shelton has gotten back up to 9th. Richard in 10th as, pit stops. Oh, and Fitzwater totally just got a 30-second penalty. Oskin might get one too. That was pretty close. I was just going to ask where the 24 went. I believe the 24 already pit, unless something occurred. Now, someone had a tire issue there. What was that? Nope, no flat tire there. Just tire damage 0. So Vince Freeze and Ace Rogers stay out a lap. And yes, Kev Shearer hit a lap early. So 2-stop race, Vince.
This could be big for Kev. Look at this. He might be in the top 5. I think he's going to cycle. Where's Zorlin? Top 3, maybe?
Did you see Vargas also with an issue? Ream and Fitzwater. We'll have to see how much time Freeze and Ace gained because they were at the very back of the field and they got to pit on a emptying pit road.
Refresh his tires too, even though it's one lap, it could make a difference.
There's Dylan Young. Dylan Young has lost a ton of time. Still a near 4-second lead for William Brock over Liera. Kev Shearer now up to 3rd. Sorlin down to 6th. 23 Asak Flickinger is up to 7th. Those are the main top 10 highlight changes. No penalty for Cement Oskin. Andrew Rich down to 29th. Vince Freeze up to 18th. And Ace Rogers trying to take 16th away, or 15th away rather, from Ellison, but unable to do so right now. It's Richard Johnson, first car outside of the top 10. And he appears to be faster than the 2 in front of him.
There's Rose.
So Kev Shearer with the lap down car. Bradley Ream in between him and Liera. But William Brock is gone. As Vargas is now just coming off of pit road. Several laps down. Ream 2 laps down. I believe the 2 30-second penalties went to Ream and Fitzwater, and then Vargas with an issue on the stop. Nobody out of the race.
You can just see with Brock, man, first time in dirty air, and he just stuck there. Passing is going to be difficult unless you get an outside run in the 2. You got to cross with the arrow. That's the only way to get him run.
Yeah, it might be a 3.5-second lead for now, but Liera should be able to close the gap up until she gets to the bumper of Andrew Rich, at which it might then be difficult for her to make a pass. But 2-stop race instead of 1-stop race, so quite interesting. I'm thinking maybe Kev Shearer's team pulled the trigger for a lot of teams. It might have actually been more of a 40-lap to 42-lap stint, and teams decided to just split the race into thirds. So everyone should be good to go on one more pit stop. When you pit could be crucial, but I'd say mainly for those in the pack behind William Brock. It's the only way you're going to gain any track position is if you end up with a bit of different pit strategy there, as we saw Kev do. Jump Kev up from, I think it was 9th or 8th, straight up to 3rd. And then we saw Ace jump up to 16th, Vince up to 18th, and I want to say both of those drivers were outside the top 25.
Yeah, you either need a clean pit road, or if I'm someone, let's say in the 20s, 5-10 laps early. You have nothing to lose. No one's going anywhere. You're stuck in a bubble of air. Although I say that Andrew Rich is closing now, and Liera is not. So it's just a bubble of air. There's no passing tonight.
See, the one person that should be able to get by some people here is Christian Vargas. He's got about 5-lap fresher tires than everybody else. He is in a lead lap car sandwich right now of Sanford and Rowe. He is not going anywhere.
You You need a 10-lap tire difference or more to make up a second. You have to be a second faster than the car in front to have any chance of passing. Rogers
Meanwhile,
did a good job.
Ace Rogers has gotten by James Ellison for 15th. He's starting to pull just a little bit. Not too much faster than anybody in front of him. No real changes to the running order outside the top 20.
It's going to look high, but I don't know. That run may not work because Brock will get a little bit of a straighter shot. Yeah, man, just one of those races. I think it's going to be on this next pit stop cycle to see who wins the race and who pulls a bold strategy. I just don't think anyone has the tire advantage to pass, maybe other than Vargas on track. That's it.
Let's go on board a lap with William Brock.
I got you. All right, William Brock here to the start-finish line in turn 1. Going to break a little early. Get a nice run through the entry. Hug that yellow line through the center. Little steering input. Now going to go straight as you can. Get the lateral grip off. Straight as you can. Left steering inputs. Then turns it into turn 3. Use a little bit of draft. Down to that yellow line. Then hard acceleration off this corner here. And that's the lap around Richmond Raceway in a supercar.
See, really not on the throttle that much because of how fast the car accelerates. I actually even saw there going in the one that he would crack the throttle a little bit, get back into it a little bit, and then would go hard on the brake. Fastest lap time on the race now belongs to Donovan Cage, a 21.407. Liera running a 4.23, Chung a 4.49, Hamill 4.68, Sanford 4.71, Logan York 4.77, and Vince Friese a 4.78. Brock now 10th on the board, not improving from his lap on the first stint. Slowest laps on the race are James Ellison with a 7.29 and Bradley Ream with a 7.41. Ream is 2 laps down to 31st. Ellison sits 16th. I think Ellison being at the bottom is just a byproduct of being in the pack.
Yeah, you just see it there. That turbulent air is... Oh, a little contact almost with Cage, but you just see that turbulent air is just causing Brock to go nowhere.
All of a sudden, it looks like Andrew Rich has turned on the turbo in that Mercedes car as he is all over the bumper of William Brock there for about a lap. Now you see Hamill and Cage racing for position here. Might hold up the 3 car just a little bit.
Wait, is Allison in traffic? No, that's the thing.
Allison still has Bradley Ream, or Bradley Ream has gotten by Allison.
Oh, boy.
So now she is following the 19, but she is pulled away from Charles Sanford, who is up to 3rd. With a bumper full of Christian Vargas, Kev Shearer has fallen to 4th, and Jonathan Zorlin has closed up on these drivers looking to get back into the top 5. Nice little pack of cars right here. Richard Johnson, Sam Young, Keith Rich, and Audra Baranowskis. Ace Rogers is closing in on them. About 3/10 a lap. Sam Young, remember, drove away in the Jerky Pro race here this past season. So a bit of different challenge for him, but to see him in top 15, that's a pretty good showing. Looking at the ticker, the lead is under 3 seconds now for Brock. We are about 4 or 5 laps away from pit stops, as Rich has gotten by the 3. So now here's a crucial part to the pit stop strategy is if you are William Brock, you want to be the first one on pit road. You do not want to be going in behind these lap cars. That'll check you up. That'll let Liera and Ream close up the gap.
I think the only question mark I'll have is cashier. Because he came in a lap early, does he say, let's go 5 laps earlier? I mean, I would pull the trigger. You have nothing to lose. You most likely can. Look, he's holding everyone else behind. I think you can just hold the lead. That's why it's still clean air dependent. Someone's going to pull that strategy, I have a feeling.
Liera is still closing the gap now as Brock is stuck behind Andrew Rich. And you bring up a good point. I think if Kev were to pit 2 laps early, fall-off's about 1.5 seconds. That'd get him up to 3rd quite easily, and he might be able to keep it.
Might be able to get 2nd, too, because Liera's not really making an inroad.
Oh, and the 6 has a brake failure.
Oh, it's big. There it is.
Down the pit road is the 6. Now the question is how long will this take to fix? That's a huge failure, though. You need your brakes here.
We get here. 4 tires.
And I think it came at a perfectly timed spot because I think she didn't lose too much time. She just was able to go straight down the pit road.
Looks like a...
Yeah, they're gonna be spending some time here fixing the brakes. As Zach Flickinger has come down pit road. He's the first one in. Keith Rich, Baran-Auskus, Samit Oskin. There's William Brock. Kev Shearer, no undercut this time. And Liera's team, it took him an extra 9 seconds, so we'll have to see how much time she loses. Ace Rogers stays out once again, as does Vince Freeze. No penalty for Fitzwater this time. Liera will be at least in front of Keith Rich. Big problems on the pit stop for the 23. He came in first, but comes out way behind. William Brock, I believe, will retain the race lead. Sanford still second. Kev Shearer third. Sorlin will be 4th. Rowe 5th. Liera not losing much. She is still in 6th place. Christian Vargas is on old tires here. He is going to be in the way.
Freeze will cycle through. I think they should net gain, though.
You see Vargas currently holding these two up. Yepes in 7th place. Liera is actually going to use the 28 as a pick to pass Rowe. Puts her back up in the 5th. As Hamill comes out of pit road, looks like he might have had an issue this time around. Keith Rich is in 8th, Seth Cole 9th, and Shelton 10th. Audra gets up to 11th. Ace Rogers still 15th. Donovan Cage with issues. Vince Freeze still 18th. And Zach Flickinger, man, despite pitting early, fell all the way to 19th, so big old problem on their pit stop. Vargas will hit pit road. But it's a 5-second lead for William Brock. Let's see, issues indeed for the 29 of Donovan Cage. I think he had the same thing that happened to Vargas happened to him. And I want to say Derek Hamill got hit with a 30.
I believe you would be correct.
No changes on the fast lap board. So now we're coming to what'll be 24 laps to go. William Brock looks like he's got this race in hand, barring an unforeseen mechanical failure. As these cars, a little more prone to mechanical issues than the Cup cars and the Jerky Pro trucks.
The problem for Sanford is 5 seconds is like it's 100 seconds out here. There's just no room to. There's just no way to pass. It's aero dependent, track position dependent, and even if you have a 10-lap tire difference, unless you're Vargas, that we saw that one time, He's just not making any inroads at all. Just stuck in a bubble.
Yeah, and on the same tires as well. So Bradley Ream, Andrew Rich, Dylan Young, and Peter Onjak are the 4 lap cars between Sanford and Brock. Right now, Sanford is closing the distance just a wee bit, but he gonna need a ton of help to close in the rest.
Well, we got a little spare time, Zach. Want to talk about that schedule for the upcoming?
Actually, let's focus on this battle. We've got Alexander Rowe, who's just gotten back by Liera for 5th. As now Yepes is looking to take 6th. Remember, Liera pit 2 laps earlier than these drivers, so going to be tough for her to hold on to the track position she had already lost. So you see, of course, Vargas on the freshest tires out of anybody. Curious where Donovan Cage came out of pit row. There he is. Ellison up a few positions in 13th. Richard Johnson, I think, lost a lot of time. He's down to 20th. Points leader Oskin, 21st. Definitely not going to be the points leader after today. Looking at the upcoming schedule, Vince, we've got Pensacola next week. I actually don't have the rest of the schedule up, so if you have it, I'm going to need you to name off those 4 road courses we're going to.
Yeah, I'll have to get it up in a minute. Probably in a separate chat here. You keep talking. I'll find it right now.
Seeing William Brock still with increased pressure from Derek Hamill, or Peter Onjak rather. These Ferrari cars look the same. Dylan Young is closing the gap as well. Andrew Rich, not so much, but Bradley Ream closing in too. As the gap back to Charles Sanford has increased to 5.7 seconds, and Kev Shearer has actually closed up on Sanford a little bit, maybe looking to challenge for this position. It would be an extra 6 points out of the race. As Derek Hamill now is starting to make way through some of the lead lap cars. He's got the tire advantage on his side, but he is 2 laps down.
I got the schedule. It's Dubai, New Zealand, Road 1, and Papyrus to finish it off.
Whoa. Slow down. Can you say that a little more slower?
I got you, bud. After Pensacola, we go to Dubai. Then after Dubai, we go down New Zealand, down under there. And then we go up to Canada, up north, in the Road 1. And then we go to Massachusetts for some chowder in Papyrus. How's that?
What track we going to in New Zealand?
Pukekohe. Can never say that.
Pukekohe.
Pukekohe. Thank you.
Pukekohe.
Pukekohe.
Fitzwater's probably cringing right now, but hey, we roll. And the pressure from this lap down car has really increased on William Brock, but he has been told that he is still pulling away from Charles Sanford, so no pressure for the 3 team. Just got to keep hitting your marks. And man, William Brock, who's been in the Digital Storm Cup Series for so long and has not seen victory lane, did not expect it to come here in this V8 Supercar Challenge, but you know, these cars are totally different. And you know, we were almost set up for the champion three-peat, Vince. You know, we had Zorlin win the first race and Oskin win the second race, and I thought Liera, not even realizing it, Liera looked like she was poised to get the win tonight, but car went away from her. Brock's car picked up, and then the issue with the brakes has Liera 11 seconds back, down in 7th, and it's looking like she might not get a top 10.
Yeah, Brock, we always have a running joke that when's he going to get that win for Toyota, but he's doing pretty good in the 3 Chevy tonight.
Yes, indeed. He did not elect to drive for Team Toyota for this series. He chose to pick a Chevy. Toyota, no big concerns there. He will still be back in the 19 for Joe Gibbs next year. You see Liera, though, is holding up Keith Rich. Keith Rich has made it up inside the top 10. What a good race for him. I mentioned earlier that he is one of the few drivers with a top 10 in every race so far. And with where everyone is running, it will just be him and Shelton with a top 10 on every race after today.
Battle for second might heat up because Vargas has those fresher tires. That's one thing we can look at because that might be a line-sensitive issue if Shear. I might have to use the lines while Vargas passes you to use it as a pick.
There is Vargas. And he's also, you also got Derek Hamill here, who's a little faster, if not even with these two. Kev was about 2/10 faster than Charles that time by.
Good old rivalry right there, Coke Pepsi.
With another Coke car in the race lead. Then he got some Red Bull and Domino's rounding out the top 5. And don't forget your Budweiser. And you got the Viagra there in 7th place. Good old night right there. Soda, energy drink, beer, and the pill. Six laps to go. These two are closing in on William Brock, but I think it'll be a little too late. But we are watching this battle to see how Vargas gets by these two. Could potentially help Kev Shear get 2nd place here. But Vargas, a Ford driver, he probably doesn't care who finishes in 2nd. As Charles gets a very good run off of turn 4 there. That might seal the deal on that. Vargas right to the inside. Oh, there was a crash.
Oh, no.
I don't know who it involved. Someone was turned. They are all stacked up right here. Shelton is about to fall out of the top 10. Sam Young is looking to take the position. So I'm not sure who got wrecked. You can see it there, smoke in the turn 1. Vargas has made it by Kev. Yeah, I have no idea who got wrecked. We will have to go take a look when the race is over.
Flashbacks, though. We always talk about the leader curse at a short track. We nearly had it, but looks like Brock's all right.
2 laps to go. Oh, wow. Cool. Set it at the same time.
Calm night. William Brock dominated. Just got to bring it home for a lap and a half here and celebrate with some Coca-Cola and VL.
Coming off of turn 4, it'll be 1 lap to go around Richmond Raceway for William Brock. Getting what'll be his first win between the Digital Storm Cup Series, Jerky Pro Truck Series, and the Hankook Tyres V8 Supercar Challenge. It was a dominant night early on. It looked like he had pressure from Liera and Zorlin, but that pressure went away. And William Brock dominates to win at Richmond.
The only true short track on the calendar, so Brock can have that cemented in the legacy. And a good run for Shear. He definitely was the big mover of the race, though, in 3rd with that undercut.
Results are now official. Brock with the win. Sand for 2nd. Kev Shear 3rd. Zorlin 4th. Alexander Rowe 5th. Yepes 6th. Liera holds on to 7th. Keith Rich 8th. Seth Cole 9th. And Sam Young 10th. Shelton falls out of the top 10. So now it'll just be Keith Rich who's got a top 10 in every race so far this season. But that feat is going to be harder to maintain, especially with Pensacola next week. So let's go take a look and see what that accident was all about. Here's the incident. This was on lap 88. Shelton's just going to send it hard into turn 1 here behind Donovan Cage and just kind of spin him around in a different way. So Cage goes spinning around. Shelton tries to go up the track to miss it. It's going to get clipped here. Tires up off the ground, gonna graze the wall but keep it going. But that's what cost Shelton a top 10 run. And then, of course, Donovan Cage was already 5 laps down, so this did nothing really to make his night any worse. But that is all we've got for you guys tonight. William Brock was your winner, and we'll see you guys next week at Pensacola.
Signing off.